Ridiculous questions.
Meticulously debated.
This is Tell Me I'm Wrong.
Well, I was happy just last night. I've been losing sight. Citing all the falling fights. What is this if this ain't right? Back again, the monster rights. Losing life until that night. Life never let him lie. Light as my car passes right.
And welcome to Tell Me I'm Wrong. I am your moderator this week, Josh Ballard.
I am Ryan, and I am debating.
Well, I'm Joe, and I'm the only one who hasn't spoken yet, so I'm also debating.
Gentlemen, the day of reckoning has arrived, the day we have all been waiting for. The Muppet Show is on Disney+.
I thought you were going to say it was Independence Day.
No, we still got a little while till then. But
man.
We would have a much more patriotic topic if that was the case. But
would we?
Well, you know,
I mean, we did 4 Christmas topics. I would think for one Independence Day we can come up with one topic about patriotism or America or
but we
fireworks.
should just make it about the movie Independence Day.
I don't hate that, actually.
I'm sure Joe would be super stoked on that, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Jeff Goldblum, man, come on, who doesn't like a good Jeff Goldblum thing?
Will Smith, Danny Quaid. Not Danny Quaid. Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid. Who's Danny Quaid?
Drastically different Quaids.
Who is Danny Quaid?
I don't know who Danny Quaid is. Who's Danny Quaid? I have to know now. Josh, go ahead and talk. I'm going to go ahead and look up Danny Quaid.
On this episode of Tell Me I'm Wrong, we will be discovering who is Danny Quaid.
Well, once you figure out who Danny Quaid is, please let us know so we can fill everybody in. But what I wanted to talk about was what I brought up at the start, which was the Muppets. Now, we were thank you, Ryan. We were recently on This Is My Bourbon podcast live stream again.
And it was
someone
super fun. Before you go on, super fun. Okay. And shout out to all of the new listeners that we got from that live stream. We're definitely going to do that again. And the collabs with Perry will continue.
And I think they're really enjoying the show because there's just as much bourbon. We just don't talk about it. We just get sauced while we record. And it's, you know, basically the same thing. I'm sure Perry would agree.
There was a few of them that really took some shots at me that night.
Yeah, Joe had it a little rough. So go watch that. But while we were on there, the topic of the Muppets came up because, you know, famously, we had one of our best episodes talking about puppets, and we have a thing for mascots and puppets on this show, as we've discussed regularly. And
so far, you all have a thing for mascots and puppets.
Okay, that's fair. It's not so much Joe.
And now we kind of pigeonholed Joe into
they forced me into I don't know. I don't know what I guess it's not a furry. I don't know what a puppet lover is. A puppy.
I don't think that's what it is. Puppy love.
A pupper?
So this week we are debating which puppet Ryan would take to a movie to make out with. So
you got Joe on that.
That was really good. Come on, that was funny. I would debate that.
It's not that far off.
I think it'd be Mr. Potato Head, Mrs. Potato Head, because he could change her look to whatever he wants.
That's not a Muppet.
I thought he said puppet.
That's not a puppet either.
Mr. Potato Head is not a puppet.
I think Joe was playing with Mr. Potato Head wrong this whole time. Joe's you shove your hand in the ass into the potato. That's how you play with it.
Put your fingers out the eye holes.
The eyes always popped out. I never understood why.
I mean, the thing, I don't understand how they designed this toy. You're supposed to put your hand in it, but all these little pegs are in it and push it all out.
Yeah, I open up the butt and stuff just falls out. It's very similar to me.
What? You're telling me you didn't stick your hand in there and twist around his nose in circles? Anyways.
Okay, Muppets. I really thought he said puppets, and I thought like Toy Story would be considered a puppet.
Either way.
Still.
What we are talking about is similar to what Muppet Ryan would make out with at a movie, and that is the concept of which Muppet would you simp for? Now, this came up on the live stream, and there was a lot of conversation about this because we are millennials, and as much as we have tried to stay plugged into what the culture, what is going on in culture, Gen Z has taken over. The kids are winning. We are not cool anymore.
They just move so fast with their TikToks and their Snapchats.
Well, we just started a podcast and then TikTok came along.
I know. Like,
they don't even listen to these. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to be, we always say we're an educational podcast. That has been consistent since the start of this show.
Part of our foundation.
So we want to educate all of the millennials that listen to our show, including the ones that are on it. Not that the three of us listen to the show.
I just want to go ahead and say this from the start. I have no idea what simping is. To me, looking it up, it was basically the friend zone. Like, it's guys who want to get in the friend zone. And when I was, as my dad would say, courting and sparking with the ladies,
there's a phrase.
The friend zone was the worst thing to get into.
Now, I think this might be a Now, again, we are millennials. I don't think any of us have, even at this point. Josh did some research, I think, and I still think we don't really understand what this is, but we're going to try to debate about it.
Yeah, I went on a little bit of an expedition, and Joe's right. It is like getting into the friend zone, which look, I spent my fair share of time in the friend zone in my life.
Oh, when I was younger, I lived in the friend zone, and it's miserable. Because you're just like, how do I get out of this? Like, I was Ryan Reynolds from Just Friends. Like, I was the fat friend. And but I was really funny, but I was too funny. And you're like my brother. Ha ha ha. I think there's people in this pod that's listening to this podcast that have put me in the friend zone. Actually, I know there's someone who listens to this podcast that's put me in the friend zone.
Calling out the listeners.
Yes.
Well,
no, she wouldn't deny it.
So what you're saying is that when you were a teenager, you spent most of your time inside of the friend zone and Mr. Potato Head's ass. Is that what I'm
both simultaneously oftentimes.
It's an interesting Venn diagram that he's formed there.
Those two circles only touch at one location, and it is Joe Robinson.
He is the tangent.
For my current wife, when we first started to convene to get to know each other.
Boy, I got real nervous on that pause.
The hand motions plus the hesitation there.
I couldn't think of what I was trying to say. When we first started to date, I guess, she kind of gave me the cues, and I told her, I looked her dead in the face, and I said, listen, I'm not letting you put me in the friend zone.
Oh.
Either we're dating or we're done. No friend zone crap. And hey, now we're married and have a kid, so.
Hardline Joe worked.
Yeah, she was like, she told me I never had anybody just come out and say we weren't going to do it. And then I was like, well, crap, I guess I got to date him.
Good for you, Joe.
That seems like a pretty powerful move. Now, I do want to circle
Josh,
back
I would
here.
say I only deal in power moves. So thanks for bringing that up.
That's fair. I want to circle back here because you mentioned that someone who listens to this podcast put you in the friend zone. We don't expect you to name any names. However, I need a little bit of background on this. How did that go down?
All right. Let's see. So I actually did date this person
without getting yourself in trouble.
No, my current wife knows this person. I did date her in the 3rd grade. It was the best week of my life, up until I met my wife, and we grew up together. And everyone.
So you were put in the friend zone at age 8.
Well, I see. I was. Everyone around us would always tell us, like, you guys are going to get married. It's going to happen. You're going to realize you're going to fall in love, and that's what's going to happen. It's just two people aren't friends like you. And we were always like, nah. And there was times. I mean, like, oh gosh, guys, this is going to get embarrassing. But I think like in 5th or 6th grade, I can't believe I'm telling this story. Oh my God. I think I actually could find this note at my parents' house, but I wrote her a note, like in high school and middle school, you wrote notes to each other. And I think actually
you briefly said college there. I need to know more about those notes at some point. But
those are called instant messengers, I think. But
those are called sex, I believe.
Yeah. No, I don't think that was really around when I was in college. But anyways,
it was.
Middle school, elementary. I think I was in 6th grade, actually. I think I actually wrote her a note one time. And I said, I may not be the funniest, the smartest, or the best looking guy in our class, but I still think you should give me a chance.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. I
self-deprecating Joe.
Low self-esteem when I was that kid. It took me a long time to realize, like, hey, if I make fun of myself, I'm good. But I think she still listens. I know she listened a long time. She's a teacher, and I know she's dealing with some tough times during the pandemic. So shout out. But she's listened from the start, and she's a good friend, and we're still in the friend zone, and that's okay.
Well, that was the Joe Robinson Therapy Hour. Ryan and I bill at $150 an hour. That was what, like 5 minutes, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
go ahead. Go ahead, do that math, Josh.
That is approximately. Let's see here. Okay, so
25 sounds good.
$150 an hour is what I said, right?
Yeah.
Divided
5
by
minutes.
60.
There are 60 minutes in an hour. So that is like what? Not a third. What is that?
Can I help you? Can I give you some help? What's
Yeah.
five? What's the fraction of 5 minutes of an hour? 60 minutes.
5,
12.
10, 15,
It's
20.
it's 12.50, y'all. 12.50.
Okay.
Well, yeah. If you use a
12
calculator, that's real easy.
Exactly. I'm sitting in front of a calculator.
$12.50 for your therapy here.
You could have done a tenth and then did a half of that and then $12.50.
Well, when I started this podcast, the whole point was to talk about simping, but we have somehow ended up talking about getting intimate with a potato and the friend zone, which for at least 1/3 of this podcast is the same thing.
The typical TMIW tangent.
Yeah, this is normal. So simping. Let me explain this so that we can get into our topic.
Is this the same thing as ASMR?
It is not the same thing as ASMR. But
What is that?
we'll have to do an ASMR topic some other time.
I don't know what any of this stuff means.
Let me give you a brief definition of simping. So simping in the colloquial language of the Gen Zers or Zoomers, as they have apparently come to be called recently, it basically means when you infatuate over a person. This is according to Urban Dictionary, by the way, which is still the foremost expert on slang.
Well, it's Urban Dictionary scholarly.
This is from Urban Dictionary, but I got it off of RenWeb, so we're like in good shape. It's scholarly, it's educational. So simping is when you infatuate over a person. Now, this definition says woman, but we're extending this to puppets, so I think we need to be inclusive. That's what we care about here. When you infatuate over a puppet, allowing them to take over your mind and cause you to do things for them that you wouldn't normally do. To use this in a sentence, friend, I'm going to have to leave this game. I want to see what Ann is doing right now. The boys with an I. You're simping, bro. That was 2 sentences, so Urban Dictionary didn't quite get there for us.
So
but
he's simping because he left to go see what his friend was doing?
yeah, so that's the thing about this is when I first heard about simping, I looked into it and I was like, isn't this just being a nice person?
Yeah, it seems
Let
like
me tell you
some-
something. To the 2 Gen Zers that listen to this podcast,
I think we have at least 3.
3 Gen Zers that listen to this podcast. Look, it's okay to simp. That's called being a good partner.
It's also making yourself look like a good like the person that they want to be with. Like that, there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you're the one, if you're leaving the boys to go hang out with the girl, then you're gonna get the girl.
Let me tell you where simping came from. I'm about to break it down for you right now. Spitting
there
truth.
it goes. Millennials speaking truth.
Some guy was trying to hit on some chick, and it wasn't working because girls like bad boys. That's what they say. My wife almost broke up with me because I was too nice, whatever that means. But he was trying to hit on this chick by being nice, and his friends were like busting his balls for it. And he said, "Guys, I'm sympathetic to her needs. I'm just simping on this girl." And he made this up to legitimize what he was doing. And then his friends started saying it. And then some idiot on TikTok and whatever else people are using said it. And it took off. And now everybody's like, oh, he's simping for this girl. Oh, he's simping.
I like your approach, but it is spelled differently. It's SIMPING. But that's quite possible. Now, there are quite a few other definitions on Urban Dictionary. The vast majority are alarmingly sexist. And misogynistic, so I will not read those. However, there was one longer one that I think kind of sums up where the disconnect is for us. Because, like I said, I think it just sounds like someone who's a good partner. But here's where it seems the Gen Zers, find the line between being a good person and simping. Simping is the art of trying to act like a girl's boyfriend when you don't really even know her, when she already has a boyfriend, or when she has explicitly stated she is not interested in you romantically. The simp convinces himself that he is more important than he actually is and that he is sexually desirable to this person of obsession. It's nothing but a delusion, but you bet your ass he will do anything and everything for his person of obsession, especially if they have a boyfriend.
So stalker.
Yeah, so that's what it sounds like.
What is the benefit of this? Who does this thinking this is a good idea? I'm going to get laid because of this.
This is a new term, but I think we all probably knew someone who was like this back in the day. I had a good friend who he listened to this podcast. I won't call him by name, but he knows
his
who I'm
name's
talking
Josh.
about. It was not me. He was simping a little bit back in high school based on this definition, kind of, you're batting out a turn. You're trying to like hit a home run when you're like a ground ball hitter. You are out of your realm
as our parents' generation would say, you're out kicking your coverage.
Out kicking your coverage. You're trying too hard. You're friend zoning yourself. But even though you're in the friend zone, you believe that if you just do this one thing for them, they will change their mind about you. But spoiler alert, they won't. So that's the difference here.
Friend zone.
So
I still think there's a difference between the friend zone and this situation. But because it seems like the friend zone is an active thing. And simping, it seems like you could simp on somebody who doesn't even really know that you exist.
No, because I know this has not happened to me, thankfully, but I know girls who've said, I'm not going to date you, but then they like still ask them to do things for them, and the guy likes the girl, so he does it. But she's like, you're just too much of a friend to me. You're like a brother. We'll just go hang out. And then she goes and sees her boyfriend. That is the same thing. He's doing it knowing that he thinks it's going to change, and she has no desire to ever change.
Yeah, you got it, man. Okay, so it sounds like we have a good basis. So if you just said,
does
what
everybody
feel
would
comfortable?
You want to be put in the friend zone with, I would have been fine with this.
Well, it's different than that, and we've covered that. So I asked the guys to come up with the Muppet. Now, this does not include Sesame Street. That is an entirely different universe. But what is the Muppet?
We've already covered it.
That you would simp over. So, gentlemen, it is now time, 20-something minutes into this podcast, to finally start talking about the Muppets. So, Ryan, I'm going to go to you first. I want you to introduce your Muppet, tell us who you picked, and give us a little bit of background on them before we get into why you would simp for them.
All right. Well, this topic was difficult. One, because all of us were kind of wafering on whether we actually knew the definition of simping, but also because
did you say wafering?
Like a vanilla wafering?
Did I say wafering?
Yeah, I do think waffling was the word you wanted to say.
Wavering and waffling.
Wavering would have worked too, but I think you mixed the two. You made a super word.
I like it though. I think I'm going to keep wafering.
Yeah, I don't think wafering's bad. It's just a different type of baked good.
And you knew exactly what I meant.
It sounds like what I do in a lazy river. I wafer in, and then I just lay there.
All right, we coined our new phrase.
So, anyways, continue with what you were wafering over, Ryan.
So I looked at a couple of options, and I really just decided, because none of these Muppets have any sort of gender. So, like, I didn't really factor that in.
That's not factually correct.
Okay. Well, most of the Muppets are kind of just whatever they are. They're not necessarily. So I didn't really factor that in. So I based it on personality. And I also started thinking about, okay, a lot of the simping kids out there are focused on people who are, like you said, like out of their league, or maybe they're like immensely talented. Like maybe they're simping over a celebrity, which is some of the definition that I saw. And so when I thought about that, I was like, okay, I think what's going to draw me towards a Muppet is going to be the talent level. And when I look across the board of the Muppets, and I'm looking at just somebody who is really passionate, really knows their craft, and really talented, that is Animal, the drummer of Dr. Teeth and the Elective Mayhem.
Great band name.
I actually had that in my notes. Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem is a fantastic band name.
How had that not been taken?
And the fact that got stolen by the Muppet Band is kind of crazy. But anyway, so some things about Animal. He can speak in full sentences, but it doesn't happen very often. most of his conversation is guttural shouts, and he repeats a lot of things like drums, drums, drums. His first appearance was on the 1975 Muppet Show, which is called Sex and Violence.
Sex and Violence.
Jim Henson, what were you doing?
That's the follow-up to the grand hit Sex and Candy by Marcy's Playground in circa 1994.
I smell sex and violence. Yeah.
We need to have a talk, Jim. You named your puppet show Sex and Violence.
It sounds like a video they show you in middle school, like as like a way to not make you do stuff. Sex and violence when good kids do bad things.
Exactly. So that was, I mean, I just needed to mention that. But this, at the time, he was being chained in a cell in a basement when he was not performing with the Electric Mayhem. Then I found some quotes from Frank Oz, who was the performer for Animal. He said he had the character down to basically 5 words. Those 5 words are sex, sleep, food, drums, and pain.
Wow.
I mean, he's a caveman.
So one, I think this paints an interesting picture of Animal that I had never really thought about before because he's a puppet, or they are a puppet. I don't really know. There's not really a gender. But also the fact that Frank Oz, a person who was a puppeteer on a television show for, I mean, generally young people, the first word that he defined his character with was sex. The very first word.
These people are weird. These people with these puppets and these kids shows, they're all freaks, man. I'm telling you.
Here's the thing about this is it is startling. Like 100% startling. I don't think anybody listen. This is like on par with what we discovered about Grover and Proto Grover.
I actually had this thought as well as I was researching. I was like, you know what? They all go deep.
This has really messed me up quite a bit. However, I think what's messed me up most is that, like, I would have never thought this, but, like, yeah, absolutely.
The next quote is also from Frank Oz, and this was like his defining quote when he talked about Animal, and that was, "You don't mess with Animal. He eats glass, man."
Cheap date.
I mean, so Animal is, I mean, essentially just a like you said, a Neanderthal. But when it came down to choosing this as my my Muppet that I'm going to simp over, it really comes down to those videos where you see him playing drums.
I don't want to know what's in the videos.
No, it's just videos of Animal playing.
Oh, it's just solo stuff. Got it.
That's interesting.
So that is my Muppet. The extremely talented Animal, limited word wise, but very talented.
When it comes to that, you only need so many words.
And 2 of his 5 are sex and violence, and food is, I mean,
no, not violence, pain.
Pain. Sorry.
I do have a question though. It sounds like Animal's a little bit of a freak, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So of those 5 words, which one's his safe word?
It didn't say that he only has 5 words. It says that his character is defined by 5 words.
I know. But if you had to pick one of those to be a safe word, which one do you think it is?
Drums.
Drums. Yeah, that's probably right. Drums.
What's it say that Ryan picked this person and stuck with him after he found out this research?
Oh, it confirmed.
This is revealing. Like 3 weeks ago, Ryan tells us he's into light asphyxiation. This week he is an Animal. Ryan doesn't even remember what he said on this podcast.
Oh, this show is always a blur.
All right. Well,
good luck, Joe.
Enjoy your 12:30 p.m. showing of the new Ninja Turtles movie, Ryan, and Animal. Joe, who is your Muppet?
Well, it's not as jarring as Ryan's pick, but
still jarring.
I didn't watch the Muppets. It was just something that I was never into, much like a lot of the other things we talked about. So I had to do my research on characters, and I went with a Muppet that was a little off the beaten path, not a part of the original. My Muppet is Miss Poogie, That's right. I said Poogie. Poogy. She is the gruff counterpart of Miss Piggy.
And listen, dear listeners, before we go any further, I want you to, not if you're driving, but if you are at home, if you just pick up your phone and I just need you to look at a picture of Miss Poogie so that you have this image in your mind as Joe continues.
I'm not familiar with Miss Poogie, so this is 100% not Miss Piggy,
no,
right?
This is not Miss Piggy. She's a member of Fozzie's tribute band, the Muppets. So I also went with a musician.
Uh-huh.
She is the anti-Piggy, a ruddy, rough-looking pig adorned in leather, chains, and fishnets.
Whew.
Oh, buddy.
She joins the Muppets in the Muppet movie after Miss Piggy refuses to return to help to save the Muppet Theater and Studio. I keep saying Muppet, but it's Muppet. They recruit her to help, but they soon regret their decision to hire her, which she brings out and starts sharpening a knife while she discusses terms, asks for kerosene to burn some of Miss Piggy's old dresses, and gives off a generally threatening personality.
And you thought my pick was weird?
I would say that Miss Poogie is the antithesis of Miss Piggy.
Okay, so
we are so weird. This show, what are we doing?
You know, some people go fishing for a hobby. Some people like, I don't know, build things. Joe used to do woodwork. He still does. But we spend our free time sexualizing the Muppets.
I do a lot of research at work, and the IT department have got to be like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? Because it's like, talks about sitcom dads one week, and I just look up all the dads I can find. Next week, I'm Googling what simping means and looking up Miss Poogie.
Okay. So I did some cursory research on Miss Poogie while we were talking because I just had to see this for myself. Yes. And I will confirm she is the antithesis of Miss Piggy. However, I did find a picture of Miss Poogie and Animal together, which I just sent you all in the chat and we will share on social media, because tell me you haven't seen this couple at the mall before, hanging outside smoking.
Miss Poogie.
Oh, man.
Miss Poogie has been, as my dad would have said, has been rode hard and put away wet. She's rough.
I hate that phrase. Man, this picture, this is, can we just make this? I don't know who owns this image. Can we buy this image?
We'll post this image, although I do feel like it's a little bit inappropriate for our audience.
Is it?
This is like, I think you have to be 50 or older to see this image. It is not an 18 or over kind of thing.
There's nothing wrong with that image.
There is. Miss Poogie is wearing all leather and animals on a chain, and they're in a car. There is some weird stuff going on.
Animal is always on a chain. It's part of his costume.
You also can't see their hands.
Oh boy. Okay.
One of the deeper rabbit holes that we ventured down.
Listen, if you listen to this show, God bless you. I figured this was going to happen, but I did not know the depths we would reach.
Okay, one more tangent. We have basically discovered this show has basically been a true crime show, but just about puppets, because the two deepest conspiracies and weirdest episodes that we have had has been about Sesame Street and the Muppets.
Yeah, we went down a pretty deep rabbit hole the first time, but we went even further this time. Like, we've gone so deep in the rabbit hole, we've ended up in hell. So
that's because you brought me on. This is what you get.
That's true. It's true. Okay, well, before we go to the mod office, I do want to ask you all specifically, and listeners, I apologize for where this may end up going, but I do have to ask this because this is key to me making my decision on which Muppet they should rightfully simp for. So, Ryan, why?
I think I brought this up before, but I will emphasize. I think simping all comes down to this, placing this person on a pedestal, thinking that they are this unattainable goal and that you're going to do anything you can to make yourself seem like a good fit. And so I think just his ability to play the drums and his just singular focus. He does not really care about anything else.
Well, that's actually
mentioned.
not true. He has 5 things he focuses on: sex, pain, food, drums, sleep.
Sex, sleep, and food is like, basics. And then the pain comes with the drums.
Sex is a basic? Not for a lot of people.
Sex, sleep, and food? I mean,
some of us it is, but there's a lot of people out there who wish it was basic and regular.
Boy, Joe's going to have a rough night when this episode comes out.
No, I was talking about all the people in the friend zone.
Oh, yeah.
They all wish it was basic.
Simps.
Yes.
So anyway, you if you were going to choose one word to define animal, it would be drums. And so he really is just
I don't know anymore.
He's just a singularly focused person. And I feel like people like that are on a level of genius that we can't even understand. And so the talent level is really what has me wanting to be with Animal.
Joe, why Miss Poogie?
So I went a little different than Ryan. I think I would go for Miss Poogie because she's unlike anyone else I've ever dated or went after. She's just so different, the polar opposite. And honestly, I think she kind of scares me a little bit. And that's kind of like I'm scared of her, but I'm like, I kind of like that I'm scared of her.
I hate it.
She seems to know what she wants, and instead of asking for it, she would just take it and or make me do it, which I feel like is the ultimate simp.
Yeah.
And if I ever did mess up what she asked me to do, I'm pretty sure she would hurt me for it. So therefore, still a simp. And girls always want the bad guy. I mean, girls always say, I just want to find a nice guy, settle down with, take on my parents. That's not true. They want the bad guy until they get done. So why can't a guy go after the bad girl? I mean, all of our wives and or girlfriends, they ended up with the bad guy that turned good.
Oh, they did?
I'm not a bad guy.
Yeah, all of us, we're obviously all bad guys. So we're hardcore.
Yeah.
Where I'm wearing my sweater and, my Warby Parker glasses. I'm such a badass. So, I just, why not go after the bad girl? She's scary. She's mysterious and,
All right. Well, I think we all should head to the mod office and clean up a little bit, and then we will circle back up at the other side.
Stop. What are we cleaning up? Is Animal been in there?
It doesn't matter. Let's go to the mod office.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me in the mod office. We'll cool it down a little bit in here, trying to lower the temperature, as Mr. Biden would say. I would really appreciate it if you guys would take this time and share the show. We had our biggest month ever, and we did it in the shortest month of the year. And so that is all thanks to you sharing the show and just continuing to listen. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. And so that is genuinely the best thing you can do for us. Share it on social media, send it to a friend directly, or as Josh likes to say, go make a new friend and make the thing that you guys do together our podcast. We would really appreciate that. You can check out our website, tmiwpod.com. All of our social media are tmiwpod. We're trying to be a lot more active on Instagram. So if you want to interact with us, we encourage that. Send us a message or use hashtag tmiwpod. We appreciate all of the fan interaction that we can get. Second, we are still on the lookout for anybody that wants to advertise with us. So if you have a product, an Etsy store, or just something you're selling from your garage, we will do that for you. So give us a shout on any of the social medias I already mentioned. You can also shoot us an email at tmiwpod@gmail.com. We will head back and finish up this very strange episode. We'll see where this goes. Thanks, guys.
All right. We are back here in the main office. We have gotten all the condensation off the windows. We have stepped outside to take a little break and cool down a little bit. And now I have some questions for you all. So you all explained who you're simping for and why you're simping over this Muppet. However, I do have a very specific question. What are you doing to simp for them? What do you think that they need from you? What are you doing to go above and beyond for this person? Puppet. And why do you think it would make a difference in their eyes? Why are you doing this to try to win them over? Ryan, you have been going first throughout the day, so I will go back to you. Explain what you would do for Animal.
So here's the thing. Animal is all about the basics. He doesn't overcomplicate with lots of words. He likes to drum and he likes to go crazy. And
yep,
I think the best thing that I can do to show that I am a devoted partner and it's someone who could really be there for Animal is quit my job and I will follow Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem on tour. And I will be there every night cheering for Animal, being his number one fan and making sure that everybody knows that he is the most badass drummer in the world.
So you're going to be a groupie for Animal.
That's what I just got out of
Listen,
that.
I think that is the version of simp for Animal. I think that is the direction I have to go because of who Animal is.
Okay. So Jimmy Buffett has the parrot heads. The Grateful Dead have the dead heads. What does Dr. Teeth have?
How about the animal magnets, like animal magnetism?
That's good. Joe, what would you do for Miss Poogie?
Two things came to mind when you asked me. The first one is, I assume Miss Poogie owns a motorcycle.
Probably.
So I think that she would have me fully fix her motorcycle up for her. It's in pristine condition all the time. And of course I would pay for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not for the motorcycle, but I would pay for the supplies to detail it. I'd pay for the repairs, do all the work. Now, I don't have a motorcycle. I just do it on her motorcycle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing that came to me is, I think at some point...
Are you riding bitch?
No, she doesn't let me ride. She leaves.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I think at some point, she may ask me to get rid of something for her. I can't ask any questions. I just got to dispose of it. And I would have to decide like how much she means to me and how important she is to me and what lengths I was willing to go to protect her. Am I willing to be a party to this?
Are you suggesting that Miss Poogie wants you to commit crimes with her?
I mean, she seems like she's in nefarious things. She was sharpening her knife, wanted to set Miss Piggy's old dresses on fire, threatened individuals. I'm just saying at some point, I'm going to have to make a hard decision, and it's going to be her love or my freedom.
Are we sure the Muppets were for children?
I genuinely am convinced after our 2-episode deep dives, no, I don't think they were for children. I think there was a mistake.
Are we sure the Muppets are for anyone?
They're for me, that's for sure.
Is the Muppets' general nature the reason we are on this show talking about these terrible things?
I think it's really Jim Henson's fault. It all goes back to Jim.
Yeah. We need to learn more about Jim Henson, I think, is what we're going to have to do on this podcast, because I've got some questions about that man.
2022, we start our new podcast, the 10-part documentary of Jim Henson. We dive in. We really get in there.
Okay.
Waka waka.
Thank you, Ryan. All right. So we've got, the Muppet you're simping for, why you're simping for them, and what you would do for them. The last thing that I need to know is, based on your devotion to them, after talking about all this, I need to know, Ryan, do you still believe you have a chance with Animal?
No.
Then why are you doing this?
Because that's what simping's all about.
That's a good answer. Joe, do you still have a shot with Miss Poogie after all of this that you've talked about?
In my heart of hearts, I would say no. But I think there's always a part of me that thinks maybe one day she'll choose me as the person to ride beside her on her motorcycle, or the person that she can beat up somebody for their lunch money or smoke cigarettes behind the mall with. So I'm just afraid that if I leave, then I may miss that moment and she'll choose somebody else. So even though I think that it may never happen, I can't stop.
Final questions for both of you. And this will show me just how much you know about the Muppet you're simping for. Ryan, where's the craziest place that Animal has, done his favorite thing?
In the bass drum.
Oh, that's a good answer. I believe that.
How's he fitting a second person in there?
Muppets aren't very big, so I'd assume
Other
Ryan
Muppets.
is pursuing him, but he's with another Muppet.
Okay.
They get a little cramped in there, but
Yeah.
it's good.
Joe, what brand of cigarettes does Miss Poogie smoke?
I think Miss Poogie's a Pall Mall girl.
Correct answer.
Damn straight, son.
There's no debate on that one.
Sometimes
no
she may go a menthol, but for the most part, she's straight Pall Mall. And I know that because she sends me to the store to buy her cigarettes and liquor all the time. But, I mess up occasionally. But she, usually she says thanks sometimes. That's nice.
She goes for the menthol when she needs a chill night.
Yeah, it's after she's had someone over. I don't know. I've never seen her actually smoke those, but
so maybe they're for her guest.
Well, no, I think they're for her. She just needs one after they're done. Apparently, I don't know what they do.
Interesting. All right. Well, I think I have. Quite honestly, I think I had the information I needed quite a while ago, but I just wanted you all to embarrass yourself further on this podcast.
I read what I wrote in a love note in 6th grade. I told that out loud to the world. I'm pretty sure if it's an embarrassment contest, I won tonight.
Well, that has nothing to do with the Muppets, so
That's true.
I am not factoring that into my decision. All right. This subject was a little out of left field, and the guys didn't even understand the topic to begin with. It was a weird one, but I must say this is probably, dare I say, the hardest decision I've ever had to make. Ryan came in with Animal. Look, it may be a little bit cliche, but there's a lot of people that are simped over that are cliche. They're big stars. People are obsessed with big stars, and Animal is a big star. And then Joe came out of nowhere with Miss Poogie, went off the beaten trail to find a Muppet I didn't even know existed. And I deeply respect that. Both gentlemen showed a level of simping, despite not knowing what it is, that was truly impressive and worth applause. However, what it really came down to is when I started asking them the specifics about what they would do for the Muppet that they simped for. They both gave great answers. However, when I asked Ryan if he had a shot with Animal, he said no, but that's what simping's about. And I don't think a simp truly knows that he's simping. So that does hurt Ryan. On the other hand, Joe came out and said that he still believed he had a shot even though he knew he didn't. And that is the true definition of simping, which is why I had to give this one to Joe Robinson.
Yes. I think that's my second one for the year. It's March 16th. So far, my statistics are not great, but I'll take it.
Now, I'm not one to praise anybody on this podcast, particularly my fellow co-hosts. However, Ryan has been on a hot streak, which we have recognized many times on this podcast. He has been on fire in 2021. And I knew with this topic that Joe was going to have to bring it. Because every time we have sexualized an inanimate object, Ryan has come through for us.
Wording.
Listen, they say podcasting is all about finding your niche, and I feel like I really found that.
And so while Ryan came guns a-blazing, Joe came in with a great pick. Despite not knowing what simping was, Joe really pulled it through. And I think we just need to recognize that Joe put in a Herculean effort to knock off Ryan, and that Ryan, I don't think you've lost your mojo. I think Joe just put in a performance for the ages.
It's a one-off. I'll be back.
I have no doubts. Ryan, I think the folks have had enough of this. Let's
put them out of their misery.
Too deep in the hole with this. Please.
No more references to holes. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you, everybody.
I love that movie, though.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Once again, like I said before, we really appreciate it. It really does mean a lot to us. I know we say that every week, but we mean it every week. I want to thank Elevate for their beautiful and hard work on the song that we have chosen to make our theme, and that is Jean Jacket please go listen to this song. Honestly, I don't know how you don't. I always end up listening to it later after I hear our show because it's just a teaser. It's not quite enough. And so go check it out. They are wonderful.
Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We'll be posting that weird picture of Miss Poogie and Animal. If we can legally, we'll definitely post it. Also, be sure to use that hashtag TMIWpod. Let us know who you simp for, whether it's a person, a puppet, an inanimate object, a vehicle, whatever you are into. We're here to hear about it. So thanks, and let us know, and we appreciate it. Also, as soon as you finish this episode, head on over and subscribe if you are not already subscribed to our podcast, as well as give us that review. 5 stars is preferable. It's what we like, and we think we do a good job. But that helps us to elevate our show and get it in front of new eyes. We do not do any kind of advertising of any kind. So only way we get our name out is to climb charts or for you to tell a friend, which is the best thing you can do to help us out anyway.
And while you're online, head over to tmiwpod.com. Over there, you can find out all about us. You can find out what we like, what we dislike, what we simp for. You can also find ways to connect with us on our social media platforms. You can buy merch. All sorts of stuff over there. However, I do have to encourage you to hurry over to our website because we just got a notice that we are being taken off the grid due to the inappropriate images we posted of Animal and Miss Poogie. We're efforting to purchase like tmiwpod.ru or whatever the Russian version is so that we can host it there. But right now it's still up on the .com. So hurry over there. Make sure to check out those photos and then also buy some merch and some other stuff that really helps us out.
Don't worry, we are in a class action lawsuit, and we do feel good about our position.
Very good.
As always, there is one winner, but we're all losers, very clearly. Later, losers.
See ya.
Miss Poogie? Miss Poogie, are you there?